Hello everybody, hope you're doing well. Welcome back to another video. If you're new here, I'm James. Hello. If you're coming back, thank you very much. This is sort of part two in a way of my best and worst books of the year. Last week I filmed my worst books of the year, which you can find up there, but this is going to be my best books. I have like three tiers in a way. It's going to be my best 30 books of the year. First of all, we're going to go from like 30 to 21, just basically name them, and then from 20 to 11 I'll say a little bit more, and then 10 to 1, which is like the best 10. So yeah, without further ado, let's get into it. At number 31 we have Queenie by Candice Carthy Williams. 29 we have Alice's Adventures in Wonderland by Lewis Carroll. 28 The First of Light at the End by Adam Silvera. 27 A Man Called Uva by Frederick Backman. 26 Beautiful World, Where Are You by Sally Rooney. 25 A Boy Erased by Jared Conley. 24 The Handmaid's Tale by Margaret Atwood. 23 Felix Navidad by Nathan Burgoyne. 22 How the Grinch Stole Christmas by Dr. Seuss. And 21 Parsnips Buttered by Joe Lycett. All really great books. All either 5 or 4.75 stars. I'm quite a generous giver, I think. So yeah, definitely recommend all of them. Now the next section, we're going to talk a little bit more about them. Number 20 is Normal People by Sally Rooney. I really enjoyed this book. I love the characters. Like, they are annoying and definitely flawed, but I definitely feel like they are quite developed, and I did really like them. I think it was really refreshing how in this the main character, the main female character, Marianne, she's the one that's more like sexual in a way and like exploring things like that, and the male character Connell, he deals like things like his own mental health and like different things like that, and I just feel like it was quite refreshing, and Connell was just the most sweetest. I just loved him so much. Like, there's definitely times in this book that I just wanted to like hit these people around the face and be like, talk to each other, but at the same time, really good. Love that book. 19 we have Pride and Joy by Frank Silo and Caitlin Potvin. This is a children's book that I think has come out already. I got it through NetGalley, and it's about like this Joy who wants to help her brother who is gay and being bullied by doing like a bake sale to like raise money for like a LGBTQ plus charity. And it's good, like she said, about like do you actually want the help, and then sometimes like just acts aren't enough and you have to say something as well. And then the bit at the back is really good about like resources and talking to children about like idea of allyship, and I just think this was just done really well, and yeah, so recommend it. I love that book. Number 18 we have This Winter by Alice Oseman. It's a heartstopper novella set in between the two chapters in volume 4, so after Charlie has been in a psychiatric hospital and like during Christmas, and like it's all tense and stuff. Christmas is tense for everybody, but it's even more tense because of certain things. And yeah, we get it from the 3 spring siblings, Charlie, Victoria, and I always forget his name, and like Oliver. His bit is the shortest, and yeah, it's just it's a nice little read. Really did like this quite a lot. So yeah. Number 17 we have We Are Everywhere by Leighton Brown and Matthew Reimer. This is a non-fiction book about the gay liberation movement, basically, from like before Stonewall, because that wasn't the first time like a riots happened or movement moved forward. So before then and after, going up until the modern day. It is very US centric, and I would like a British version of this, but a lot of these events impacted things across the world as well, and it is really good at refocusing queer history from like white cis men to all the other variety of people that make up the community, and trailblazers and vanguards that were like black and other ethnic minorities, were sex workers, for trans people, were transvestites, were just, yeah. Really great. I really love that book. There's so many lovely pictures, and yeah. Number 16, we have The Colour Purple by Alice Walker. It's a very sad book, and she really deals with a lot of trauma, but it is so well written, and it's definitely a good book. It's basically about the main character Celie, who just has my heart. She has my heart for the whole time. It gets broken, it gets shattered, it gets put together again, it gets broken again, and she's like writing letters to God, talking about her from like sort of childhood up until the whole of her life, and then about like her sister as well, who they were separating, and she sends letters and things, and it's just, yeah, it's sad but really, really good book. Definitely one I'd recommend reading. But 15 is My Name Is Say Shonagon by Jan Blensdorf. This book it's a weird one, but I don't want to spoil the plot. Basically, it's like a woman who's upstairs, like the upstairs room of an incense shop, and people come to her and like ask her questions about like different things like life and stuff, and it's sort of like split time frames in a way, and she's sort of like piecing together what's happened to her in her life and stuff. And it's quite a strange one, but I feel like you have to read it to really get to grips with how it's developing, and I think that is like the best part of it, really, is piecing stuff together. It's so well written. I really love this book. Like, it's so, like, the writing is really beautiful, and it's really short, and like it has lots of like meaningful parts, and yeah, I definitely underrated. On Goodreads and stuff, like, it has quite a low rating, but I think it's a really good book. This is a full 5 stars for me, and some people have said like it's the worst book they've ever read. So maybe like we've read different books, I don't know, but I think this was amazing. 14, The Boy, the Mole, the Fox and the Horse by Charlie Maxey. This is really beautiful. It's so well, like, such lovely drawings, such lovely little messages about these four characters just rambling about, going about the English countryside, just chatting about like philosophy and like different like meanings and stuff, and it's really lovely. The audiobook is also great. I listened to that earlier this month, and yeah, would totally recommend both of them. Number 13, we have I Want to Eat Your Pancreas by Yoru Somino. This is a manga about like a girl who has like pancreatic cancer, and she like sort of like meets like in like sort of feels like a relationship, friendship with like quite like a shy like boy who doesn't really like talk and like doesn't really come out of his shell much. I thought about like their relationship, and it's really sweet. It's quite sad and like moving, but yeah, I really like this one. Number 12, we have Snowflake by Lucy Nicole. This is a mental health book. So well written. It basically deals with like different like different like stigma words like snowflake and like psycho, or like asylum and work shy, like different things, and then like she links it to like personal experiences of people that have been called these things, and also the actual like mental health conditions that are associated with them. So well compiled. You definitely like learn a lot, and it's like great at just like teaching you, but also like telling you just like to rechange your language to be more inclusive and kinder to people that are struggling with these different conditions. And like, she has her own experiences and like other personal experiences, and yeah, I think it's just done really, really well, so recommend it. And then at number 11, so just missing out, we have Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol. I love this story. If you don't know, Scrooge, miser, ghost, can he change? And yeah, I think it's so imaginative. I've seen so many adaptations, but I still preferred the book. It was really, really engrossing. Just a great story. Really like just like unique and imaginative, and yeah, I really enjoyed it. It's so accessible. I definitely want to be definitely gonna reread that this Christmas coming. And yeah, so recommend it. So yep. Now we have the top 10 books. So congratulations on making the top 10. In 10th place, we have Open Water by Caleb Azuma Nelson. This book is beautiful. It is so poetic. It's so lyrical. It is lovely. It's a love letter to like music, to like yourself, to being like black male self-love, and like just romance as well. And it really brings London to life. It is great. It's really short, and like all of these, everything in here has meaning. Like nothing is wasted at all. Such great quotes. Basically we're following like an unnamed protagonist who meets in a pub in southeast London with a woman. They are both black British. He's a photographer and she's a dancer, and they're just talking about like their like experiences like being a black person in contemporary England, London. And yeah, it's really good. I love this book so much. I so recommend it. And like it's tiny, so like come on, just give it a read. Number 9, we have Babel by R.F. Kuang. This book was so great. I didn't expect for me to like it because I'm not like a fantasy, I'm not a magical reader, but this transcends different genres. It's got like historical and like obviously fantasy, magical realism, like dark academia, just a lot. Like there's a lot in here. Basically we're following the main character Robin, that's his anglicized name, who like gets offered the chance, I guess, to go from Canton, which is modern day Guangzhou in China, to England by Professor Lovell, but because he's like his parents die, and he's like, okay, I'll take you, but you have to dedicate all your time and energy to language and translating. So he says like, okay, I'll do it, and then he does all this time so he can get into Babel, which is the like center of like translation institute research in Oxford, and then he later learns that this place that he's going to and learning from and like fueling is the epicenter, like the catalyst that is fueling the British Empire's advancements across the world in different colonies, because they're using the like students to do like translations on these metal bars, and then they evoke sort of like a power and like different like meanings from the changes. It's quite hard to understand the like actual magicalness, but I really got on board with it, and I was like, oh my god, that is so like it really like I just was a bit like confused, but then I was like click, and I was like, okay, Rebecca, yes. And yeah, and so Robin has like this internal dilemma because it's like, should I be thankful for Oxford and all they've given me and England for all like the stuff I have, or should I be fueling the power that is damaging my hometown where I used to live, like, you know, like his heritage. So it's that like internal dilemma, but like it's so well written, it's so like transportive, the characters are like so developed, I love them, and yeah, like the writing is beautiful, like it is so clear that Rebecca like knew her stuff. Like it's like a love like of translation and language, and like the found family is just adorable. Yeah, I so recommend Babel. It is definitely worth the hype. Number 8, we have This Book Could Save Your Life by Ben West. It's a mental health book. This is about it's sort of like a memoir, self-help, mental health-ish non-fiction, I don't know, but basically in 2018 Ben's brother died by suicide, and this obviously has such a massive impact on him, but he took it, and like there's different forms of like grief, and he's really like made a difference in like the world, especially in the UK, bringing attention to the mental health crisis and pandemic that we are having at the moment, talking about like different like education and healthcare and different like governmental organizations and how they're not dealing with the problem that we have well enough. And it's yeah, it just made me ugly cry, because like there were some bits in here that just really like, but you have to understand that he went through it. We're just reading it, and despite these bits, I think this is exceptional. And it's really great for like just informing you on different things, and also like so you can be a better support service for people that are struggling, and also to how to deal with things yourself, because I personally do have mental health problems and other people around me do. So I feel like this is definitely a great support like system service to like help me help others and to help myself. And it is so well written, and yeah, I would so recommend this. I just like really support Ben on his journey of bringing attention to the crisis and all the selfless work he does. And yeah, he's really so inspirational, such a great man. Number 7, we have Where the Crawdads Sing by Delia Owens. This book is beautiful. The writing in here is so nice. Like, it is clear that Delia Owens knows how to write nature books, because she does, but like this is just, oh my god, the nature writing here is so beautiful. It's so like transportive. It is lovely. Basically, we're following in 1969. A local boy, Chase Andrews, is found dead, and everyone is like, "Oh, it must be Marsh Girl. It must be Kaya. Like, it must be her." And it's sort of like about like comes down to like, is it her? And then we also get like Kaya's story in like past chapters, like it's sort of intertwined, of her like childhood and like growing up, and like dealing with like abandonment and like being like alone, and like what should she do. Yeah, I fell in love with her. She is such a lovely character, and Tate is just adorable. Yeah, I really enjoyed this. The writing is so lovely. And then number 6, we have Swimming in the Dark by Thomas Jodorowsky. This book is amazing. I love this book so much. Basically, it's in Poland in 1980, so like socialist Poland. And we're following shy character Ludwig, who has been sent to like a university like agriculture camp, where he meets Janusz, who is like, wow, going and stuff, and they spend like a lovely summer together. Like, it's about like first love, and like just like a doomed love as well, because they're both men. And then like after that they go back to Warsaw, and it's just about like how like life's happening and stuff. It is really sad, but it's so beautifully written, and I love the characters so much. I love like the setting, and this is the first book I underlined, and like there is so much like meaning here, and so many things that I just really enjoyed. Yeah, this book is amazing. I love this book so much. So yeah, so recommend it. Number 5, and it's the Heartstopper series. I have chosen just to put them all together because, well, I wanted to, but they do get better from volume 1 to volume 2 to volume 3, and the volume 4 is the best one. So yeah, they do definitely get better as it goes along. This series is exceptional. I read the books after watching the first season of the Netflix adaptation, which is amazing as well, but I do prefer the books. And yeah, it is so great. We're basically following the 2 characters, Nick and Charlie, who at the start of school in tutor their term time thing, they get sat next to each other, and they both say hi, and this is the first of many Heartstopper moments for them. And it's sort of about like their like teenage love, I guess. It is so fluffy, it is so beautiful, it's so like adorable as well, but also some sad bits. It deals with like a lot of like things that many people struggle with, like eating disorders and mental health and like bullying. and like internal and external homophobia, by like coming to terms with yourself, and like however much you might love someone, if they're struggling to like help themselves, then like just by loving them more can't really do that. And like the like ebbs and flows, ups and downs of like getting better with eating disorders and your mental health. And yeah, I love these characters. They are so real. They are so like, there's so much relatability, and like they're so diverse and they're so well written. That also the artwork is like, it's beautiful, and that like continue, like literally the whole, all of it is just beautifulness. And yeah, this, I've said it many times before, this series is literally gonna save lives, and it is such an amazing thing that like young queer people have a series like this to like understand that they are valid and loved, and just like, it is so good. Yeah, I cannot say a single bad word about this. Literally nothing. Like, I love it. I love it with my whole heart. I love this. I love it so much. Also, a little shout out to the Heartstopper yearbook, which is like a compendium. This is really lovely. I like how you can like draw the characters, and like a few like extra mini comics, and about Alice's like growth of writing Heartstopper and drawing Heartstopper. And yeah, I really love this as well. So yeah. Number 4, we have Becoming Ted by Matt Kane. This book came out on the 19th of January, not long ago, but I read it as a pre-publication reviewer last year. This book is amazing. I love this book so much. Basically following Ted, who, he thinks his life's going great. He has a stable 20-year marriage with his husband Giles. He has a stable job working at his family's ice cream like parlour in the Lancashire seaside town of St Luke's on Sea. He has a great friend. It's just, everything just seems like it's nice. But then his husband says he's been cheating on Ted and he wants a divorce, and Ted is like, oh no, this is terrible, like that, like, well, what good can come? But Ted, how wrong you was, because he thinks back on his marriage, and he's thinking like back on his life, and like he never, like, he was always suppressing himself, and he never really did what he wanted to do. So he takes his time and embarks on the journey of becoming Ted, and that is to become a drag queen. This book is so great. It is so lovely. I flew through it, even though I definitely want to revisit it, because I just love the characters, and the writing is so like, it moves you forward. It literally, it pulls the page forward. And yeah, such great characters. There's a few things that I like, okay, but like, I cannot negate that it is a 5-star. It is so good. It's just a lovely book, and like, it deals with a lot of things as well, like homophobia, especially like external, with like Oscar's storyline and his father Andres in like Poland, about like these like anti-LGBT zones and like anti-gay marches and stuff. But also a lot of it is internal, and how like, however much you love someone, there's certain things that someone has to overcome themselves. And yeah, it's just, there's such a great cast of characters, just really great. I absolutely loved it. Totally recommend picking it up. Number 3, we have The Midnight Library by Matt Haig. I love this book. Basically following Nora, who wants to die by suicide, but when she's on the brink, she gets transported to the Midnight Library, and it's here where there's all these different books, and if she opens them, she can transport into another version of her life, where she had like changed something previously in her root life, and she goes through different ones, like just different things. And that's all I'm gonna say, because like, yeah, but I really really love this book. I think the story was, it was so like imaginative and unique, but like there was just so much like relatability as well. Like there's literally so many things in here that I personally could relate to and find like comparisons and parallels with, which I felt a little bit strange, but I think it's great. And I just love the characters. There's some like, there's obviously flaws, but there is a lot of things that I really got, and I definitely read it at such a great time in my life. So yeah, and yeah, this is one I do want to reread again. I want to reread so many of these books actually. Just I feel like there's like so much more I can get out of so many of them, but yeah, I really enjoyed this. And I would so recommend it. I personally do think it's worth the hype. I know there is like this self-help element that some people might not like, but I don't think it really takes away from the story. I think it's embedded quite well, and I just loved it. I really really loved it. So yeah, definitely give this a read, everybody. The penultimate book, number 2, just missing out, is Two Boys Kissing by David Leviathan. When I read this book, I was like, wow, it instantly became my best one, and for quite a long time it stayed there until number 1 took its place. But this book is so great. We follow different like characters in like Midtown America, sort of. Basically 2 of them are trying to break the record for the longest kiss. They're both boys, and they're both 2 boys kissing outside their high school, and this is getting like media coverage. They was previously a couple, but not anymore. And then elsewhere is these other like a couple that have been together, 2 boys, and they're like figuring out things. Like one of them like doesn't come out. That's what I'm gonna say. And it's just, oh my heart. And then there's another one of them is trans, and they're sort of like a budding relationship is starting to come. And then another character, Cooper's storyline, he gets outed to his parents and they don't take it well, and he goes off, and we just follow his like journey, and it's really like it's this book was so like, my emotions was like up and down. I was like grinning ear to ear, like literally laughing out loud at some things, and then like 2 sentences over I'm like literally crying, like bawling, crying. This was just, it was exceptional. It was so good. I love the characters. It's YA, but I think that like how it dealt with some certain things was like trigger warning these topics and issues was done quite well, and I didn't really get the sense that it was like juvenile at all. I think it was just more like the characters were obviously younger people, but I think it was really great, and I so recommend this book. And yeah, Two Boys Kissing was great. And like the quotes, oh my god, I got so many quotes from her. I constantly, like, this was like one of my first books I read. I constantly had to like keep like my phone with me, so I could like write down quotes I saw, because there were just so many. And yeah, so now drum roll please. If you don't already know, if you have seen many of my other videos, I've talked about this book many times because I absolutely adore it. But the best book of 2022 goes to none other than Lie With Me by Philippe Besson, translated from the French by Molly Ringwald. This book is perfect. It is literally perfection. It is exceptional. This book is so great. I love it. I love it with all of my heart. Basically, we're following the main character, Philippe, an author, and he's having an interview, and he thinks he sees something that he cannot possibly see. Thomas walking by, and he goes to approach this man, and he gets transported, not as in Midnight Library way, but like mentally transported to the 1980s, and his first love with another boy, Thomas Andreu. And it's a doomed love. It's a love that they have to lie about, but it's a love that is beautiful at the same time. And this book was just, it was great. It was so great. And like there's like, it's 148 pages, so it's tiny. You don't really have much excuse to not read this, because I'm telling you to read this now. And every paragraph, every sentence, every syntax has meaning. Like so many of this book is underlined and starred, and it's just it's beautiful. And the title about like lying, as in like past tense of lay, and like keeping things a secret, is just, it's just so great. And it does deal with like many topics, and it's heartwarming, but it's heart-wrenching, and like it's a roller coaster ride. It is I have not a single bad word to say about this book. I love it. I literally love it. I love this book so much. It is wholeheartedly the best of the year. Oh my god, I love it. Yeah. So I don't really know what else to say now. This is the best book of the year. These are all the 30 best that you have seen already. I hope you enjoyed this video, and all of these books I would totally recommend. And yeah, if you want to see my worst books, check that video out. Also check out my like tier ranking, all of the books I read, the 110 books I read in 2022, to see like a whole like breakdown of how they each compared, which I'll link up there. But yeah, read this book, please. If you read any of these books. I hope you have a nice day or night, or wherever you are in the world. Thank you very much for watching, and I shall see you soon, everybody. Bye bye.